Why preparing for war can start one. Introduction. The big problem. Imagine this. You and a rival country live alone on an island. You don't trust them completely, so you build a big, strong wall, purely to protect yourself. But the moment your wall goes up, they panic. Why the wall? Are they preparing to attack? So they buy more weapons. You then see their weapons and feel even more unsafe, so you strengthen your wall again. And the cycle continues. This loop, where one side's defensive move gets interpreted as an offensive threat, is what we call the security paradox, or security dilemma. And surprisingly, history shows that many wars start not because countries want to attack, but because they fear being attacked first. This report explores how this trap works when it doesn't, and what smart leaders can do to avoid turning fear into conflict. Research method. How we study the problem. To test whether the security paradox is real or just a theory, we look at real historical cases using a comparative case study approach. The idea is simple. Study moments when major powers felt threatened and see how their actions were interpreted. We focus on two major examples. 1. The road to World War I. European countries kept expanding their armies and navies. Each claimed they were only defending themselves, but every new ship or troop made others panic, triggering an arms race that eventually pulled all of Europe into war. 2. The Cold War arms race. The US and Soviet Union stockpiled nuclear weapons to prevent attack. But the more one side built, the more the other felt it had to catch up. Both were terrified of being vulnerable. By studying government documents, military plans, and memoirs, we look at how leaders interpreted each other's actions, and how misunderstanding multiplied fear. 3 main arguments. Why the security trap happens. 1. Arms races create the illusion of safety. Country A builds a weapon for deterrence. Country B sees it as a threat. Country B responds with more weapons. Country A panics. Both end up with massive arsenals, but neither feels safer. It becomes a race with no finish line. 2. Mistrust is the default. You can't see the intentions of another government, and since almost every weapon can be used for defense or offense, countries assume the worst. Even harmless actions, like military training, may be read as preparation for war. 3. Fear can trigger a strike-first mentality. When new technology gives an advantage to whoever attacks first, countries start thinking, if I wait, I'll lose. If they strike first, I'm finished. So maybe I should hit them now. This fear-driven logic is how preventable wars actually begin. 3 counter-arguments. Why the trap isn't inevitable. 1. Deterrence sometimes works. The Cold War never turned into a direct US-USSR war. Why? Because MAD, mutually assured destruction, was so terrifying that it forced both sides to behave carefully. In this case, military power prevented war. 2. Some countries really are aggressive. The security paradox only applies if both sides want peace, but some leaders genuinely want to expand. In those cases, military preparation doesn't cause the threat, it protects you from it. 3. Communication and institutions reduce fear. Organizations like the UN, NATO, and regional alliances help countries communicate. Confidence-building steps, such as announcing military exercises in advance, reduce the chance of misinterpretation and prevent accidental escalation. Analysis. What the evidence shows. The security paradox isn't a fixed law. It's a condition that appears when intentions are unclear and communication is weak. The core problem is uncertainty. When you don't know if the other side is scared or aggressive, you assume the worst. That assumption triggers an arms spiral where everyone feels less secure, not more. In short, military power can either keep the peace or destroy it. It depends on how clearly countries signal their intentions and how well they manage fear. The security paradox teaches us a hard truth. Even when every country acts rationally for its own safety, the result can be an irrationally dangerous world. Military strength still matters, but it must be balanced with diplomacy, transparency, and restraint. Real security is mutual. You become safer when your rival feels less threatened. In other words, the best way to protect yourself is often to make sure the other side doesn't feel cornered.